One of the most common things you're going to use out of a first aid kit is a plaster. Now, there are different types of plaster available depending on what use you need for it, and also different boxes. So what we have here is a selection of different types. These ones here are a transparent one, so you just see the gauze pad, and the rest, the actual sticky part of the plaster, is transparent. The ones in the middle here are waterproof ones. We have fabric ones, and the blue ones are for use in the catering side, and these can come with either a metal strip inside of them, so it can be picked up on an x-ray for food processing, or without the metal strip. And the reason they're blue is that they show up very well if one did come off in the food processing area. Then we have specialist plasters. Here we've got some junior plasters, and these will be used maybe with children in a nursery or in a school. The other thing with plasters is the types of boxes. So the middle here we have a selection. The most common thing you'd have in a first aid kit will be a selection of them. It might be a box like this, or it might be multiple small packets of plasters. Now with the selection you have different types of plaster. There's ones that go over the end of a finger, across on a hand, on a knee. Other areas, other boxes we've got here are individual types. So within this, these are all the same size plaster. So if you're working in a factory and there's a common plaster that's needed, you can buy just a box for that one plaster. Now the big problem with plasters is it is the most common thing taken out of a first aid kit. So if you just have plasters in your main first aid kit and someone has cut themselves and they go to the first aid kit to take a plaster out, there's always that risk that they're then going to be putting blood back into the first aid kit, which is then going to be an infection risk. So having separate plaster dispensers is always a good idea. And you can have these with the first aid kits or in areas where they're likely to be needed. So what we're going to do now is have a look at this type of dispenser box. Now if you've got loose plasters in the box, they're quite straightforward to use, but these ones are very good because they're much easier just to pull one plaster out. What you have on these is a little indent here. If you push that in, that will just tear the front, and then from there you can just pull off the top, and you can just remove that. And then the way it works is you just pull one plaster out the front, and as you pull one out, they'll automatically always come further forward, because in the back end here is a Z section, and this is forcing the plasters to the front of the box. So it's nice and easy just to take out a plaster, and they're all kept nice and simple in the box. So we're now going to look at the plaster itself. So with this brand here, it's a simple area that you can just hold the end and open it up. Now in the real world of this you would be wearing gloves, but obviously I'm just telling you about the plasters. Once you've got the plaster, you can remove it from the packet. These are the catering ones, so they're blue, so you can just see through there the gauze pad. If we turn it over, you'll see the paper that protects it. Now the key thing with plasters is it's the one thing that's used commonly in the first aid kit, so it's always worth having good quality plasters. With these ones, they're very good because the glue is very good and it stays on the actual plaster and doesn't aggress over onto the paper. And all you do is pull that back, and then you can lay that over the skin and then pull the other side back, and that will just directly lay over the skin itself. So you can see the pad there. Now, where the blue at the top of the bottom, that will seal round very, very well. Now, the pads themselves are designed to absorb blood, but also to protect against any possible infection. Now, the other advantage with this particular brand is they are very, very strong. So you can literally just stretch them, and it would take a lot to actually break that. So once you put it onto the skin, it will stay there. And that's the other thing. The worst thing with any plaster is if it keeps falling off, because we want to make sure that the wound stays clean and dry, and also there's no potential for risk of infection. So if the plaster itself has got a good bit of stretch in it, then that will work really, really well. Now, the fabric versions and the waterproof versions work in a very similar way, but the most important thing is that they do stick well onto the skin, because often when you're putting these onto the skin, the hands may be not completely dry, and also you do need to get a good quality adhesion of the plaster.